Okay, all right. Now witches.
Now witches, yes.
I could not believe I was like that was extremely brave of you to do. You know that was a brave thing to do. I don't think I could have done it. I couldn't have
Yeah.
done it. It's like
So
naked, getting your blood letting,
yeah,
creating
so
art.
let's describe what happened.
Describe what happened.
So
Naked bloodletting.
yeah, that's it. That's everything. Black metal is a sort of politically not a very wholesome genre of music,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very male-dominated space.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this a band called Witch Club Satan, which is a great name, uh, uh, made out of originally three actors who decided to that what they were trying to do fit best as a black metal band.
Oh,
The only problem was they didn't know how to play instruments or anything, so they learned to play instruments in order to do feminist black metal witch rituals.
that's cool.
And they got help from, they got an education from some of the black metal legends from Mayhem, Jørn Stubberud from Mayhem. And uh, basically, it is this weird black metal art witch project, very feminist and very based around the ideas of a feminine sexuality that isn't just cute and
Right.
but is violent and scary
Mm-hmm.
and a bit fucked up. And I hadn't actually listened to the band, but I had heard from various uh, various black metal elitists that no, they're not true black metal. They just play black metal naked in order to get the black metal money, which is a strange
Yeah, the
thing to
black metal
say
money.
because
I didn't know there was black metal money.
there is no black metal money. It's if you become the biggest of the big in black metal, you can get a like a upper working class salary.
Right.
So that's the biggest of the big you get.
Right.
Um, so I mean, if that was their plan, then that would be so profoundly stupid that I would support it. I mean, but I sort of dismissed them because I probably don't need to uh, draw a band just because they play naked. I mean, it's okay. And then I got a message from one of them asking if I would be interested in doing something with them, and I just took a quick look at their Instagram page. I thought, oh, this isn't what I thought. This is actually cool. They are doing their own art. They're doing all of these weird concepts. This is cool. So I just said yes because they asked me if I wanted to draw with blood, and yes, I want to draw with blood. It was a ritual. I want to draw with blood, but at that time I hadn't even heard the music. I just they look cool.
Mm-hmm.
They have a nice sense of aesthetic, and I get to draw with blood.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started talking about what they wanted, and they had their first album was just released, and it's a fantastic album, which I hadn't heard of at the time. And they wanted to do a listening session for journalists inside a
Ah.
great big mausoleum, like which is by that was decorated by this romantic age artists. So it's just a huge mausoleum vault filled with kind of cheesy paintings of naked people and skulls, because it's the romantics. What are they going to paint but
Right.
naked people and skulls? And the acoustics in there are just amazing. And we uh, sat down and talked about what the event was going to be, and it turned out that they were like, you can't play loud music in there. So the journalists and the guests were just going to be sitting there with a headset on,
Ah, okay.
and since the witches couldn't play their music, they were just going to be laying in caskets, in coffins,
Hmm.
and there was going to be a choir and everything, and the only entertainment for the journalists and fans would be me painting with blood, drawn by. We had a nurse to draw the blood, so it was all very,
Right.
very safe, very, very, very professional. And I sort of didn't realize how impactful it would be until it started. And
Mm.
I had this idea that, they are a feminist black metal band, and I'm not a woman usually. So I had to become a temporary woman for the evening, and I had to learn, the drag queen tucking and taping and
Oh, really?
doing all of that stuff.
That's what I
And
mean by brave. That's a brave thing to do.
it hurt a bit. I'm not a professional tucker yet, and because I wasn't all that good at this taping and tucking, we had to pour some. We used a little bit of fake blood just on my area
Uh-huh.
in order to conceal the tape.
Okay.
And suddenly it just looked awful, because it looked like I had been castrated on the spot.
Wow. That kind of
That
works for
it
that
didn't look
situation.
nice.
Yeah, but seems appropriate for that whole
Yeah.
situation.
And,
There's a
I don't
symbology
want to
there.
talk. I don't want to talk a lot about what happened during the whole seance, because it isn't. It's not something that can be articulated
Hmm.
in words well, because it was an extreme event, and it was a transcendental
Yeah.
thing for me. I wasn't supposed to be myself, and I was truly myself and other in some way. But what I can talk about is what happened right before the ritual started,
Hmm.
which also was a part of the whole magic of it. And first of all, the nurse had to take quite a lot of blood from me, because we had to have some blood to start with.
Hmm.
So she tapped my blood. I did the mistake of looking at the full little glass of my blood and got all dizzy. And then someone shouted, "It's 1 minute till it starts." And the
Wow.
choir started just humming this one note again and again that was supposed to be there when the audience entered. And I found a spot out up in the darkness right over a spotlight. So I was half blinded and just looking at this spot where I could see some gray shapes. I couldn't see what it was, but it was probably part of the paintings.
Hmm.
And then, these are journalists. They're not on time. Half of them had taken the wrong subway. So instead of sitting there 1 minute and staring at that spot, I sat there for 10 minutes staring
Wow.
at the spot with these this witch choir
Wow.
singing just one note again and again, and this spotlight blinding me so I couldn't see when anyone entered. I could just hear noises here and there, and I didn't dare take my eyes down because that would ruin it. I couldn't be looking around.
Right.
And then the shadows just started swimming and moving. And
Wow.
in those 10 minutes before it started, I saw everything that I tried to draw for the whole 45 minute.
Wow.
And it was cold. I was naked. It was uncomfortable. Um, it was it was just a delight. Every painful little part of it was just amazing. And I also, because I wanted to be a comic book artist originally,
Mm.
and then I tried to take care of my bipolar and my mental health, and I had all these attempts at becoming this thing that's very much relegated to my head, that my art is made in my head and pushed out through my fingers, through my brush.
Hmm.
My words are made in my head and they're pushed out through my mouth. And through the through the metal through the metal concert drawing, I knew that the body was important in this, but to use the body itself as a tool
Mm.
for expressing art
Hmm.
was just so eye-opening. Yeah, it was just for me to get connected with that part of myself. So outside of the magic the of the ritual, and I truly believe that all art is in essence magic.
Hmm.
The words we use to describe art are the words we use to describe religion and magic.
Yeah.
It is, we can't talk about it in any other sense. You can't talk about it in the scientific language.
Right.
Or there was a magic in that event that will remain as sacred as I can leave it. But there was also this magic in just being there, sexless and bleeding,
Hmm.
and cold and crying,
Wow.
and just feeling that, yeah,
That's
my
amazing.
my body is art as well.
Right. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. That sounds like they accomplished what they had hoped to, which was, I mean, I'm assuming they're legit and they were trying to do a full on ritual and embody the spirit of this album in a kind of religious or spiritual
I mean,
way.
I don't know how it felt for all the audience. I've seen there's been some articles. You don't expect journalists to get
Yeah,
much,
right.
but I've seen some articles from people who thought it was a fascinating artistic experience, but truly didn't get the ritual part of it,
Hmm.
and some who seem to have gotten a hint of the ritual. And I also talked to others who were in the audience as fans who definitely got what we were doing.
Hmm.
But I am almost 100% certain that those of us who were actually involved in the ritual, uh, we experienced something we couldn't otherwise have
Right.
access to. It's something else.
Yeah.
And
Transcendent.
fun times, as we say.
Are they real practicing witches?
You will have to talk about that with them. I think I
Because it
can't
seems
speak
like,
for.
I mean, it seems like something witches would do.
It seems like something witches would do. I'm not trying to be coy or uh, uh, anything. I don't know how to define a real witch. I don't think a real witch is defined by whether or not they say they are a real
Right.
witch.
That's it. But
I
that's what I'm saying though. Is like,
there was a real intent to create a
okay,
transcendental
right,
experience,
yeah, and
and
okay,
it worked for those of us who were a part of it.
okay. That's funny that I would say that. Oh, are they real witches? Which it's kind of dumb now that I think about it, because we're both agreeing that art and magic are the same thing, and artists are witches or whatever you want to call them, magicians on a spiritual level or on a,
Trollmenn, it was in Norwegian.
what's that?
Trollmenn, we say in Norwegian. Trollmenn.
Oh, okay.
That
Trollman.
is the old word for a magician or witch
Oh, cool.
in Norwegian. Trollmenn and trollkvinne.
Oh,
Or
that's awesome. But I get my point being, it's like I was asking if they are real, if they are practicing witches just out of curiosity, and it's like, but if they're artists, they're creating a performance art piece. That's the same
it's,
thing. That's not different.
so
So
the,
it's like yes, they are practicing artists, witches, whatever you want to call it. It's like kind of the same thing. Creating a
the
trans.
honest answer is I haven't asked them
Right.
about how they practice in their day-to-day life. I have talked with them about the intention of that ritual, and that was bloody serious in all its hilarity. We we know it's funny, but it is real. It
Right.
is. We know it's stupid. It's absurd. It is. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But to experience it, to be a part of it, is not any of those things.
Right.
That is bloody serious
Yeah.
business. It is trying to reach something which you can't reach by any other
Mm-hmm.
means.
Right. And
Which
this,
is the same with art.
that's what I was just
I
gonna
mean,
say. It's like art is also trying to art and magic both try to change the consciousness of the viewer. It's like,
yeah,
or the practitioner, or it's like we're trying to change uh, consciousness in a way.
yeah.
And
We're changing experience, and the world is our experience. I
yeah,
mean, we can't see anything except our experience. Well, this has really uh, opened up a whole lot of new possibilities for me. So I'm going to do a performance together with a fantastic visual artist and musician called uh, Kostin Chirano. And we're going to do it at the Inferno Metal Festival in Oslo this Easter.
cool.
And it was going to be more of a plain reading, or in my mind, it was going to be a more of a plain reading of Lovecraft's prose poems.
Hmm.
But because of this witch event, it's going to be more of a performance. It's still going to be the reading, but it's going to take on another much more corporeal and vocal and challenging passion.
Wow.
And right now I'm in this headspace of still just thinking about all the possibilities
Hmm.
for how I can uh, use my body as a work of art.
That's, I mean, that's the essence of performance art,
Mm,
is using the body
yeah.
and performing.
And it sort of goes almost full circle because I talked a little bit about my parents, and
Right.
in my childhood, I was a part of their performance art shows.
Oh, cool.
So I was doing these kind of weird meditative
Huh.
performances as as a 10-year-old kid.
That's amazing.
I was playing my part and with fake blood at that point, but
Uh,
some blood. So it's all full circle, I
that's
guess.
incredible. Wow. Okay, I got to ask you one last thing before we wrap it up. Um, just regarding this ritual, is this something you have been into before? Are you into all this weird shit? Magic, spirituality,
Uh,
uh, that sort of type of, the stuff. You've heard me talk about it. I mean, are you into
yes.
that?
I'm probably not into it in the same way as you.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be more well-read when it comes to a lot of different types of practices,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of more of I'll make it up myself.
Right. Okay.
I'll make my own shit. It is kind of the difference between our art styles as well.
True. Yeah.
Uh, but
So you would be
from
more of a chaos magician if you were to be
oh yes,
classified as a type, because that's the whole chaos magic is all about,
yeah,
like, it's in your head, you're creating reality, you create your own rituals, you make up whatever works for you, and it still works
yeah,
because it's more about intention and focus and concentration and stuff. So you would be more in that, which I
yeah,
totally relate to as well. I mean, I find that
yeah.
the most
But
interesting way.
from uh, at the time when I was showing John Buscema this brush drawn autobiographical comic, that was what I was actually starting to experiment with.
Oh,
It
okay.
didn't start as a ritual or magic. It started with a fascination for Japanese Shinto Buddhist art
Okay.
and Zen Buddhist art, and how Zen Buddhist artists would use meditation in their art practice.
Mm,
And the way this comic was drawn was through meditation
mm,
and through drawing things I saw in front of me with directly with a brush and just taking whatever I could get out of where I was at that point, that moment, and that uh, that was sort of my entry into looking at art as a spiritual practice,
mm,
which happened in the late 90s. And over the years, this meditative practice has expanded to include more and more ritualistic elements when appropriate.
mm,
And for instance, the headbanging I do when I draw metal concerts, that isn't just because I get lost in the music. It also is in order to lose myself in the music.
right.
It is
Yeah.
these,
Yeah.
uh, I'm putting myself in this sort of a dervish-like
Yeah. Yeah. Trance state.
state.
Hmm.
And I've done experiments with these types of, yeah, meditative art practices, and with ritual, with drawing with my own blood, with magical symbols and all of that. And I am very staunchly atheistic and scientifically minded,
Hmm.
but I also am unapologetically spiritual as well. And I don't think we can talk about art or artistic experiences without that religious language. And I have to keep that duality in my head, that yeah, I relate to this physical world that can be described with science, and I don't believe in a lot of mumbo jumbo, uh, but I believe in the power of experience. And I also believe that this is, as far as I can see, probably kind of cosmic in the scale. I don't think I've seen no proof that consciousness or experience is exclusive to humans or living things or
Right.
anything. I mean, I think I think if we were all the same stardust, then
Right.
maybe, know it's I don't see myself as much special in in relation to this plastic doohickey. It is, and I try to. It's difficult to live by that, because I do think I'm more special than a plastic doohickey,
Right.
but I know that that's wrong.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
uh,
That's the magical
that's
perspective of looking at life, you know?
one of the most. That is the most important thing I've learned from AI, is that I always say thank you and please to the AI,
Mhm.
because otherwise I would interact so much with the AI that I would start forgetting to say thank you to humans,
Uh,
which would be bad.
yeah.
So instead of using AI to become more rude, I'm using AI to remind myself to say thank you to this chair for holding me up
Right.
so long.
Hmm.
Thank you to the clouds, and thank you to all different inanimate objects that,
Uh,
strictly speaking, don't need you to say thank you to
right.
them. But maybe,
Yeah.
I need to say thank you to them.
I thank my printer all the time. I talk to my printer. I talk to my vacuum cleaner. We've
Yeah,
got a name for the vacuum cleaner.
we we ex- we don't know a lot, but we experience the world as if it's a conscious thing.
Hmm.
If it starts to rain and I forgot the umbrella, it's my fault that it starts to rain because I forgot the umbrella.
Right.
The gods do they do these things to us, and this is how humans experience the world. And I think we should take that seriously.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is the magical perspective or the artistic perspective that everything is alive, that everything is connected. I mean, these are kind of like,
I, I think this is the human perspective as well.
yeah, right, right, right. Yeah, because you have to be,
Probably,
yeah, yeah,
maybe the cosmic perspective.
yeah.
If I'm going to talk out of my ass, then yeah, I'll say that.